Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Hour number 2 underway right here on Jocks. Monday, March the 2nd. Yes, this is March. We made it. I don't know. Should we be celebrating making it to March?
I mean, I'd like to think that we had a really good chance of making it to March.
On
Jan 1.
I just don't feel like it's a whole lot closer to college football season. We do have spring practice.
We do have spring
starting.
ball.
Yeah.
Spring ball is the new fall practice.
We made it. So in other words, we're there. All right. Well, who will be your Power 4 head football coach in 2030? Ralph Russo of The Athletic asked that question and attempted to answer it for every school, which is just fascinating to even think about the concept taking place. He joins us now on the Higginbotham hotline. How did this come about, first and foremost, Ralph?
Hey, guys. It's, an editor. I have a really good editor, Matt Brown, who came up with this idea. And it was very simple. I mean, it was as simple as that. Can we just predict who's going to be every team's head coach in 2030? To which I said, well, that's ridiculous and impossible and a crazy idea. But, yeah, let's give it a try. It also sounded like it would be pretty fun. I think the first thing you have to do is abandon the idea of trying to get it right? Like it's too far out. There's too many variables. So what you're trying to do is not necessarily like nail it as much as, okay, what's the thought process of this program? What are the chances that this program will have a coaching change? What are the paths of the current coaches who are available to move around? Be them head coaches or assistant coaches. And you try to sort of also like get some names in there that are interesting in the industry that, maybe 5 years from now have a chance to be head coaches that we wouldn't even think about right now. I have James Laurinaitis as the next Ohio State coach. He's currently the linebackers coach at Ohio State. And as crazy as that might sound to think that he'll be Ohio State's coach in 2030, Ryan Day was the offensive coordinator of a 7-6 BC team 5 years before he became Ohio State's head coach. So 5 years is a lifetime. A lot can happen. So we wanted to have a lot of fun with it, bring some logic and get you thinking. But again, I think as I stared at the screen at a certain point, I was like, you know what? I'm trying to, my mind is tempted to try to get this quote unquote right, when really I just need to again, have some fun with it, make some logical choices, and maybe get a rise out of some folks too.
No, it was fun. I thought I clicked it. I read it. I enjoyed it when you released it. And I thought it was, look, no one knows the answer to this. I mean, these are impossible. In 5 years might as well be an eternity. But I do think it was thoughtful, and it made me think and remind myself a little, Ralph, that these guys are making a lot of money, and this is a really hard job. So I think the amount of movement that you projected is completely understandable, because I just think the lifespan of a coach nowadays and the shelf life of a coach is going to be shorter, given the expectations and the 9-to-5 nature being out the door. Now it's 24/7, 365 all the time. So how much did that factor in as well?
A fair amount. I tried to look at the numbers going into this season in terms of coaching tenures. I think if you eliminate the ultimate outlier, which is Kirk Ferentz, who's, I think, going into 26, 27 at Iowa, what you end up is with about a 4.5-year tenure for the P4 coaches going into this season. Right, the average P4 coach heading into this season is on year about 4.5. So if you just extrapolate that look 5 years ahead, that's probably going to create a certain amount of turnover. How many of the coaches who started in 2021 are still in their current jobs? I think it was something like 19%. Give or take. So I tried to replicate those percentages a little bit and not get too aggressive. I mean, I didn't turn over everybody. Alex Gola is still going to be coaching at Auburn because I figured, somebody's going to get past 2.5 years at Auburn, right, eventually. Kirby's still at Georgia. So I tried to bring some logic as far as that was concerned. Where are the trends in college football? Because I think you're right. I think I don't know if I see a lot of really long-term coaches anymore.
It was interesting, though, some that you did pick. Like, I'm imagining Miami was a pretty easy one to say there's not going to be a change there. That one's going to last. How much did you look into, like you mentioned with Auburn, the actual school and how things normally operate there as to making the decision of, in 2030, I think that coach is still going to be active at the same school?
Oh, that's exactly it. Yeah. I mean, you do, like, when you're assessing Arkansas and, the recent history is there's been a lot of churn there. Right. And a South Carolina, outside the Power Five, I think it's fair to look at a lot of those ACC and Big 12 schools and think, the way things are set up in college football right now, those are kind of stepping stones to the Big 10 and SEC. That's not a definitive statement, because if I'm at Miami, obviously in the ACC, I'm not going to Rutgers in the Big 10. But a lot of those jobs generally are going to be considered a stepping stone job to two bigger conferences. So I think you have to take some of that into account as well.
When you look at fit, and it does feel like some of the guys that you projected leaving, and one of those being Kalen DeBoer, you projected him to go to SC. I'm sure that probably has to do with fit, comfort on the West Coast, what have you. How much does fit matter nowadays? Is it as important as it once was, or because of how transactional things have become, have it changed a little bit?
So here's the thing on fit, because I think sometimes that word gets thrown around a lot and maybe even jammed down our throats. Fit has a lot to do with winning, right? Like, if you win, you fit, and if you don't win enough, you don't fit. I do think there is a little more nuance to it than that, and the idea that, like, my style fits a certain, not even a certain region, but a certain type of program, right? And I think that listen, I think Brian Kelly is probably the perfect example of it, and I don't think he didn't fit at LSU because he did the funny accent. I think he had a hard time fitting at LSU because he had a certain sort of hands-off style that I think fit a little better at certain schools. And I think you needed to be a little more hands-on, especially in recruiting, at a place like LSU, right? So fit means different things in different places. Yeah, I'm definitely not among the people who think Kalen DeBoer is on the hot seat, but you also find yourself thinking, like, it's always tough for the guy who replaces the legend. And even if he's successful at a certain point, like, is it enough success? And maybe 3-4 years from now, you look at a situation where, like, he's doing well, but he's maybe not really truly breaking through. Everybody is a little bit uneasy with the relationship. And wouldn't it make sense for him to possibly go work for the person who hired him at Washington, which is Jen Cohen, the AD at USC? Now, that said, ADs are turning over fast and furious these days, too. So project who's going to be the AD at these schools within the next 4 years is also another tough task.
It's massive. How does that work, in your opinion, when, say, a coach is on good standing at a place and there's a new AD that comes in? Because a lot of times we hear coaches, oh, he should be nervous now, it's not his guy. Or does it depend on how much success the coaches have been having, and it doesn't matter who the new AD is? How do you sort of balance new AD with coach that's either having a lot of success or limited success?
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, listen, if a guy's winning, and that cures everything, and you'll be on the same page, the relationship is fine. What that AD needs is a winning football team, first and foremost. So if they don't necessarily have, like, the perfect relationship with a coach who they didn't hire, they'll swallow that as long as they're winning. What it does is, I think it narrows the margins, right? Maybe in a case of a coach who, probably would have been safe if they were winning 7 or 8 games. Now that AD that's not your guy, quote unquote. if you didn't hire that coach, okay, maybe now the margins are a little slimmer, and that AD is more aggressive when it turns to, do I need a new face for this program? Do I need new leadership for this program? Because their vision for the program just might be very different. So I don't think it generally doesn't lead to a winning coach getting bounced, but I think that the standard for what it will take to keep your job probably the bar probably gets a little higher when you have a new boss in town who might not have the same vision for success. I mean, honestly, it's what happened with Ed Orgeron, right, at LSU. And he got fired a year and a half after winning a national championship. But Scott Woodward, the AD there, who hired Brian Kelly, didn't hire Orgeron, and he had a different vision for the program at LSU.
Ralph, it's an interesting read. It's a fun read. We appreciate you taking some time to sort of share your thoughts with us. How long did this take to put together?
So, yeah, I basically dug in for about, I want to say about a week and a half. And it maybe could have taken that's the thing, guys. Like, it could have taken forever because you stare at the screen and you go through the choices and you start moving people around and you start second guessing yourself, and you could just keep doing that and doing that and doing that. So after maybe about like 7 or 8 go rounds and refining it a little bit, I just sort of stepped away and was like, yeah, I guess it is what it is. Like, you definitely could have some wrong answers. You could put somebody in a place where, and you'll get feedback of like, yeah, that would never happen because of X, Y, and Z. Maybe there's a previous relationship you have that's gone wrong or something along those lines. And there was definitely a few that I look back now and immediately was like, oh, I probably should have had somebody else there, or I probably should have moved somebody here. But again, you could have gone back and forth. I could have gone back and forth forever. At a certain point, I just sort of closed the laptop and said, okay, so be it. This is what it is.
That's it. Yeah. Great stuff, Ralph. Thanks for taking some time with us. Always appreciate it, and look forward to catching up again soon.
Thanks, guys. Ralph
Russo of The Athletic joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, talking article he has up now, who your head coach will be in 2030, basically. So we'll take some of that, have a discussion on it. Look at how many we think may still be standing in the next 4 years. Right after this on Jocks. 8:16, Monday, March the 2nd, right here on Jocks. Interesting conversation there with Ralph Russo. If we were to go through, and we can all sort of take our turn answering this question. How many current SEC head coaches are still there in 2030? We just go down the list of guys that we feel like we have the level of confidence that they'll still be around. And you start with Alabama. You think 2030 Kalen DeBoer's still there?
I would say yes, but everyone. I seem to be the only one.
No,
I feel like
I would agree that he's still there.
Like, I think everyone else is like so quickly to move him, and in reality, like with what happened this past off season, where Michigan was like, "We don't care, blank check. What do you need?" And he stayed. That's a pretty good indicator of his commitment to Alabama.
You would think so.
That's the way I interpret it, but I'm like the only one.
Who are the easiest in this practice? Kirby Smart, number one?
Probably, but also Kirby's making 13 a year. I don't get the sense that he's trying to go anywhere. That's for sure. But at what point is it like, this is very, very hard job? I've made $100 million. I think I'm cool. I'll take it to the beach. That would be like the only thing that would concern me about some of these guys at the top of the price point where they're just making a ton of money. It's like, this is too hard.
Yeah, Kirby hanging out the beach full time. I don't see that. I just don't think that could happen ever.
Doesn't feel likely.
I think one that we would put Lane in that category now, right? Just because he's just getting started. I mean, we don't think he's not the LSU coach before 2030, do we?
No.
Yeah, I think he'd be one that's fairly easy. Pete Golding, Ole Miss head coach in 2030.
I feel pretty good about it, but here's the only concern I have with that one is that like sometimes you have that immediate boost where, all right, hey, the guy left. We're gonna rally behind this guy, and we've seen it with success at Notre Dame, for example. Like that worked beautifully, and Marcus Freeman's in a great spot. But we've also seen it not work out, where the feel-good hire ends up not being as good as you want it to be. I think Pete's going to do a good job. My only concern with Pete is if he does something and like the Farrelly situation at Clemson, like he could get himself into trouble because he's just a hard charger. That'd be my only concern with him.
Yeah, a little bit. I would say now I think Keith Carter wants stability. I think Pete will do a pretty good job, specifically with the team he's got coming back next year. I mean, Trinidad, Kewan Lacey, pretty good place to start, regardless. I think he'll still be there. Elko, I think we agree, a pretty easy one to say he'll be there. The only thing I would see with him is just if he tires of college football in general and decides he wants to go coordinate defense in the NFL. I mean, that's the only thing I would see getting him out of there.
Yeah, I think that one and the possibility, and I think Ralph hit the nail on the head. Like Marcus Freeman's probably going to the NFL at some point pretty soon. We're all on the same page there.
Yeah, Notre Dame's got to get somebody.
So they got to get somebody. And you go and get a guy with a Penn degree and has coached there in the past. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you leave A&M in favor of Notre Dame? I don't know. You know what I mean?
It's
Maybe.
an interesting thought. It is.
So I can kind of see why Ralph connected those dots.
Yeah. No, it's hard to push back on that when you lay it out that way. But if I was going to go one or the other, I'd say he'd still be there. What about Venables at Oklahoma?
I think he's going to have a really good year this year, so I think he's going to be there.
Probably. Clark Lee at Vandy?
I think he'd be on the short list at Notre Dame, too, in the event in which that job came open. But no, I think this was the year to go. In my opinion, I'd have a hard time envisioning a scenario where Vandy's as good this year and or next year as they were this past year. I think coming back to earth is a high likelihood.
But also, there were people who sought him out, and he showed interest in other jobs. That's why I would say Vandy and Missouri will have new head coaches in 2030, because I think people will come after those two, and I think those two will listen. That's why. I don't think they'll get fired.
No.
But I think there'll be other opportunities, and they will most likely take them.
But why wouldn't they take them this past year?
Because those jobs weren't offered.
Hmm.
Or maybe between the two, there was less interest shown in one that could have been attained as opposed to the one that couldn't have been attained, and that cost them. Would you agree with that?
Sure.
Yeah. Jeff Lebby, Mississippi State.
It's just what is the expectation level? I thought they made
What
progress
are they going to
this
go
year.
get?
I don't think they're going to be able to go get a whole lot, but I do think that Lebby, if given the opportunity to leave, if he has a good year, I think we'll go.
He wins 7 people coming after him.
100%, and they should. And by the way, people came after him a little last year.
Yeah.
And I think he listened because he knows this is a hard place. And I think he's a good coach. I think a lot of people know that. So
he's a good dude.
Love him.
And so, yeah, a lot of people are like that. Golish, you agree with Ralph? He's still at Auburn in 2030?
Yeah.
History would tell you no, not having nothing to do with Alex Golish, by the way. I think him personally has a great opportunity to be. I'm trying to feel if I should pose the question to you that was posed to me in reference to the Auburn job on the air. I don't know if that's a great idea to do that, so I'm not going to do it right now. I'll wait till the commercial, and you can tell me if you think that's a good idea. Shane Beamer, South Carolina.
I don't think so.
I don't either, and it's because I think there's just so much going on. I think it's going to force him to look around and force him to listen more. I think that fan base has gotten – it almost goes back to what you said a little bit earlier in reference to the Ole Miss job. When things go well early, it creates that expectation.
Correct.
And at some places, that expectation should not be that every single year. South Carolina fans largely have gotten to that, and it shouldn't be there. Just the reality is it should not be there.
No.
Same thing with Kentucky fans when Stoops was there. Like, you had a run that was maybe as good as the program's ever had it. That's not sustainable.
No.
It's not sustainable almost anywhere in today's college football, much less a place that hasn't traditionally been good in football. So that's one where I could see if a door opens for him, I could see him saying, you know what, we need to take that opportunity, kind of that reset that you always talk about probably needs to happen.
Yeah, reset the clock, get a fresh deal, keep the chains moving. I mean, that to me makes sense. And it's not really about South Carolina. It's not really about Shane. I think he likes it there. I think he's enjoying it there. I just think it's a hard place to sustain excellence. It's never been done in the history of the program. It's never been done. So you can say, well, it's different now. Is it? I don't know. I mean, I know they can sustain greatness on the women's basketball court, but I don't know if there's been another sport in which South Carolina's sustained for a long time. I don't know. Even baseball program, their success was fleeting. Unbelievable short stretch, in a sense, no longer the dominant piece that they were. So I want it to happen for them. I just don't know. I really don't know.
No, it's fair. And I look at this, and I think the further we go through this practice, here, the ones that I would say right now, I wouldn't even guesstimate to tell you, would be Kentucky and Arkansas. Like, I'd say right now, I think John Summerall's the head coach of Florida in 2030. That's just me. I think
Where are you going to go?
Well, not only that, but I think he wants stability now. You know, he was at Troy, got it going. Tulane, got it going. I don't think he wants to move regardless of what else comes open.
Yeah.
And then I think he's going to do a good job. So that one's going to work. But Kentucky and Arkansas, I can't. I don't know. I love Ryan Silverfield, but I know what that place has been. They didn't win a conference game last year. And by the way, what is that, the third time in the last 6 years that they haven't won a conference game in a season? It's obviously a hard place to win, which is amazing because when all this NIL started pouring in, we all sat back and said, somebody's going to get that going. Somebody's going to win there. So maybe it's not just the checks. Or maybe the checks aren't as easy to get at some places as some people thought they would be.
Sure.
I think Kentucky has a chance. I like what he did in the portal this offseason.
No doubt.
No idea if that thing's going to work or not.
No clue.
There's just no way to tell. And then the ultimate wild card in this, if we're talking about 2030, we're going into 26. That would mean the 26 season, the 27 season, the 28 season, and the 29. That's 4 more seasons of football. You guys tell me if Josh Heupel's the head coach at Tennessee in 2030.
I think Josh has done a good job.
He's done a great job.
But I don't know how many people that follow and support Tennessee believe that.
Greg, we had people at that bowl game walking around covering it that were saying it was time. I had a couple people, like Tom Hart will tell you, wherever that giant hotel is where they all stay. Like, there were 2 people that approached us to talk. I walked away from them. I just don't know, man. Josh comes in. I literally just turned and walked.
That was it?
He's like,
you heard all you needed to hear?
You just walked away from it? I was like, I ain't listening to Josh Heupel should be fired talk right now. Not in this place where I've been lost for 45 minutes and don't even know where we're going. Only one hotel on earth that I've been in and been lost for an hour. It's that one.
It is a hard thing to wrap
Gaylord
your head around.
Opera House.
When you think
Happy
about
Land, McDonald's Hotel, whatever it's
when
called.
you think about how below average they were for the better part of a decade.
That's being nice, by the way.
Brutal.
Below average is nice.
And I'm being nice. I mean, they were a bottom tier SEC team for a decade. And now you're very competitive. You made the playoff. You have a clear identity.
You just took a quarterback that was going to be a fireman.
Correct.
He was walking away from football to go put out fires and had a pretty good football team with him.
Yeah.
And he put out a fire last year at quarterback. Imagine that.
It worked.
Yes. The whole goal was accomplished. He was a firefighter and a football player.
We call that a double win.
Yes. I think he's done a good job, but I clearly don't know anything. Now, I am a little concerned long-term about their quality on defense. I love the hire of Jim Knowles.
Yes.
Love it. Absolutely love it. But will this offense ever allow itself to become a little bit more, with where we're going, how many games we're playing, all sort of stuff? I think it's really hard to run hyper-speed tempo.
Yeah.
And be a really competitive football team for 16 games. I just think
By
it's
the way,
hard.
it's hard to be a ball control offense and be healthy at the end of these seasons.
No doubt about it.
It's what it is.
Yeah, so
no one has depth.
You're seeing more and more teams becoming a little bit more deliberate. You're seeing more and more teams becoming a little bit more complementary. I think it's a good decision to move in that direction. Like, I like huddles. I like limiting snap exposure on defense. Like, all that's good for you. Unless you can recruit 22 great players on defense, which, by the way, you can't, then it's really hard to run a tempo style offense. So I am curious, and they did adjust last year. They weren't as fast last year as they've been in the past. But does that evolution continue? I don't know.
Yep.
Because I think sometimes Josh is all about, I want to be the number 1 ranked offense. Like, I want to be the number 1 ranked offense. I want to be the number 1 ranked passing offense. I want to be number 1. I think that matters to him. There's a reason why at the end of games, you're seeing a lot of, I don't want to say junk yardage, but like there's a lot of yardage that's accumulated in the fourth quarter of games that are not at the time competitive. So I think that matters. I think it's helpful on the recruiting trail. I think it's helpful in many ways with the program, but I just don't know if he's going to adjust enough to allow them to be competitively excellent for 16 games.
It's totally fair.
But do you have to be? Like, I think it's all about, do they want to win national championships? Of course. But they also really want to beat their rivals. And he's given them a much better chance of beating their rivals than anyone else has in the last decade and change. So, I don't know, man. You had Georgia on the ropes. You were super competitive against Alabama. Like, there's a lot to like.
You also, as we have talked about many times, don't know if the fan base or the supporter base or any of that has reset their brain, like you mentioned, with all these games we're playing now, as to, oh, by the way, that's actually a pretty good season. Whereas a lot of them are still stuck in, it's not what they won, it's what we lost.
Yeah.
We lost to so-and-so and so-and-so. Yeah, but you won 9. We're knocking on the door of the playoff, beat Alabama. Like, what are you talking about?
What more can we do?
And that's a part of, I don't know if enough people are there yet. I don't. And I don't know when we're going to get everybody there that needs to be there. So we're always going to have these unrealistic expectations from certain parts of the fan bases and the support systems that are just, It's still 1998, and if we don't win 10, it's a bad season.
But is that the majority, or is that the?
I don't know, Greg. Honestly, I don't know.
I think it's the very vocal minority. But then again, I think that's the SEC for you. You get the very vocal minority, and all of a sudden you think there's trouble in paradise. Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, the perception is that things are not good. When in reality, those that are writing the checks are content with the status quo. Ultimately, I know it's going to sound backwards, but the people that you are going to be adhering to, if you will, are the ones that write the checks, not the vocal, loud Twitter fingers. Nobody really cares about that vocal minority's opinion, because as long as the people that are writing the checks are happy, you're in good shape. So you, more than ever before, you really just have to adhere to a very small section of the fan base, and that's the section that is financially supporting the program.
Right.
So that's why I'm curious about, I think look at Auburn, for example. What happened with Brian Harsin?
Did not go well.
Why did it not go well?
Certain people worked against it strategically from the jump.
Who are those certain people?
People of power.
People that write the checks. Okay. So that's the reality. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's just where it's at. And people are like, oh, well, Kalen DeBoer. Some people don't like Kalen DeBoer. Yeah. The vocal minority might not in some cases. Guess who does? Those that write the checks. That's, I think, all that really matters. That's what's going to be very interesting.
Yeah. All right. So there's one team that we haven't mentioned yet that I think is one that a lot of people would immediately say, oh, yeah, 2030, still there. If you took a step back and actually thought about it, the complications with it may bring you to a different conclusion. We'll tell you who that team is and have a conversation about whether or not we think that coach will still be there right after this on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. 8:36 Monday, March the 2nd, right here on Jocks. Talking spring football. Teams are going to begin spring football. We talked to Ralph Russo. We talked to Paul Feinbaum. Talked to Paul about this gathering at the White House to discuss college sports that's going to take place this week. Also talked to Ralph Russo about who's going to be coaching your football team in 2030. We'll get back to one more SEC team that we have not discussed just yet. And it's one that has a lot of intrigue around it. And there's a lot of different reasons that the answers could go different ways. Not just, is the coach good? Did the coach win? You're going to have to wait for that. One thing you never have to wait for, though, GMAC, is your dental care.
That's because Family Care Dental has you taken care of with busy schedules for you, scheduling around kids, activities for the whole family. Sometimes it's difficult to make dental appointments work on your schedule. That's why Family Care Dental is there to make things a little bit more manageable for you. They're open on Fridays and Saturdays for routine cleanings, which include free teeth whitening. They also accept patients of all ages and accept most insurance plans. Plus, they can get you in the same day if you have urgent emergency issues. With locations in Hoover, Homewood, Alabaster, Fultondale, and Trussville, call Family Care Dental for an appointment today at 874-9605. That's Family Care Dental, 874-9605.
So the last team on the list that we have not discussed would be the Texas Longhorns. 10-3 last year. Sark has had them in the playoffs. He has been, I would say, all in all, I would rate him a success so far. You?
Yes.
At Texas?
I think so. I think some people would say,
stop it.
I'm just saying, if I'm going to play devil's advocate, some people would say, well, the roster last year underachieved. Fair. I think some people would say the year before, the roster, even though they got to the semifinal, they lost in the semifinal twice. So once to a team that I think had superior personnel. The year before against Washington, I think Texas was ultimately probably the better team overall, holistically.
More talented team
at more spots. Now, look, Washington had a game-changing quarterback, game-changing wide receiver core, game-changing coach, like a lot of things to like, but I think a lot of people thought that Texas should have won that game. And had they won that game, could they have beaten Michigan for the national championship? I think a lot of people think yes. So
I'm
some
gonna say
people,
no. I'm going to say no.
Maybe not. But some people think, for whatever reason, that Texas has, quote, underachieved at times.
That would have been a fun matchup, though.
The best example.
Sweat and Murphy and those guys against that Michigan offensive line. That would have been a fun matchup.
I would have watched it.
I'd have probably paid attention to it.
I might have checked the tape.
Just for those that are keeping up at home, 5-7 year one, 8-5 year two, 12-2, 13-3, 10-3.
Yes.
He's 48-20 at Texas. So
yes.
30-13 in conference.
Yes.
If you are just keeping up with how things have gone for Sark. He was 3-6, 6-3. The last 3 years in conference, 8-1, 7-1, 6-2. So he's lost 4 conference games the last 3 years at Texas.
Yes.
Now, some people may say, it's Texas. Got to be this, got to be that. We could go back and look at the previous years and what that had been and looked like.
No,
and
don't do that.
It was very different.
Don't rely
from
on
a
history.
win-loss perspective.
Don't
However,
rely on history.
Greg, because some of the things that you mentioned and the way some of the thought processes operate there, will Sark be the head coach in 2030?
I think Sark in 2030 will likely be an NFL head coach.
I would probably lean that direction.
That's
yes.
where I'd lean.
Yeah.
He's just got the pedigree in the NFL. He's been in the NFL before. Like, there's very
He's going to have
few-
a Manning under his belt also, who he's tutored. Like, that's going to go a long way.
Just think about it. I mean, think about what's an easier job, NFL head coach or college head coach?
It's not debatable anymore.
Look at who got hired in the NFL this past offseason as a head coach. It's kind of underwhelming. Like, just being honest.
Does it need to be overwhelming, though?
Like, I'm not saying Clint Kubiak won't be good. I have no idea. Like, we'll see. But it's like, some of the guys that get hired nowadays in the NFL, it's like,
There's a lot for a lot of fans. There's a lot of who when these guys are getting hired in the NFL nowadays.
A lot. Oh, he was a really good coordinator for the Broncos.
Yeah, but 2 years before that, he was a literal offensive quality control person. I'm saying that's how fast they're rising in the NFL world.
They're just
right
so
now.
desperate. There's just so many. Like Mike McCarthy just got hired by the Steelers.
You had to remind us of that.
Like that's awe-inspiring, is it not? Like it is nothing but a bunch of retreads and like gambles.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is. And
That's
there's
all it
nothing wrong with that. Like Liam Cohen was a huge gamble for Jacksonville and it worked out great.
Yeah.
Who was the last not one of those two in the NFL? Who was the last non-retread?
Like Ben Johnson was an up and coming OC, and it's like you could tell his level of creativity.
Okay, but that was still a little bit of a gamble.
Bit,
I'm talking like who was the last big name hire that wasn't necessarily NFL proven in the NFL? Like basically the last good college coach that got hired.
Chip Kelly in Philly.
Man, that long ago? I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying that would be.
Why are you arguing?
That'd be wild to think about that we've had no other shots on college guys.
Right.
Well, Urban.
Herbs. I would qualify him as a gamble.
Yeah.
But also qualified as big name college coach that
Correct.
one guy with a big checkbook thought for sure was going to come in there and work.
This guy will get it done.
Then he brought Tebow in.
It's a tight end, though.
Well, after a couple practices.
True.
Yeah. So what's 2 in 10 years? So that makes you think, how realistic are the opportunities even going to be for Sark? If that's where the NFL mindset is, that those guys don't really work, or if that's not really the way to go.
Sark's called plays in the NFL. Sark's been in the NFL.
Oh, no, I'm with you. I think he could work, but I'm just saying if the mindset is we either got to go get a guy that's been doing this for the last 8 to 10 years, or who's the up-and-comer hot shot bargain at $9 million a year we can go get instead of $20 million a year. Because even some of the retreads aren't working anymore, Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
I really don't know. But I do think that when you look at, I don't know, I just look at these coaches and in the NFL, and I'm not saying they're not good coaches. They're uninspiring hires. Like, I mean, you literally get rid of Sean McDermott. Because you can't get over the hump. Hey, you know what we'll do? We'll promote from within. We're golden now.
Think about. I'm gonna run through this list real quick, and I want you to try to. Do we need another break here, John?
Yeah, but we got time.
No, we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, I'm gonna run through these names, and I want you to put your brain at 5 years ago. What these guys were doing. It's pretty fascinating when we get through a lot of this list. All right, we'll do that next right here on Jocks. John, we're doing Scary Movie 6.
Yep.
Have you seen the trailer?
Yes.
How dumb?
They're back.
Is that a good or bad back?
The Wayans are back. So yeah, I think.
Is that good or bad? Because I don't have the volume, but I've watched parts of the trailer with no volume. It looks awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's also somewhat supposed to be awful.
Yeah, that's
But-
part of what makes Scary Movie appealing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is it's
They,
terrible and hilarious.
Yeah.
At least I haven't seen one since Scary Movie 2 when I was in high school. I haven't seen them since.
Yeah. They got it living colored and kicked off, and so 3, 4, and 5 have not been the.
Well, they were
third one
too
bad.
mean?
He's in living color.
They kind of worked. Yeah. They were.
Yeah, they
Kind of evicted.
They're Dave Chappelle.
No,
He
Chappelle
kind of did
chose
it to
to leave.
himself.
Chose to leave. Yeah.
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 But they did get worse.
So when you say they're back,
I think they're back to the level of 1 and 2.
what was that
All right.
level?
Like-
Describe it with words.
Moderately funny.
Funny, worth a watch in theaters. Is it going to win awards? Probably
In
not.
theaters?
Who cares?
Let's not get carried away.
Who cares about awards?
Theaters? What is
You still
that?
go to those?
Have you watched?
With 3 kids
The
under 7,
categories-
I haven't been to a theater in 8 years.
Yeah, that's on
Oh,
you,
we
man.
went last weekend.
Yeah, I'm missing stuff.
Goat?
Yeah.
Kids loved it.
Ugh. Oh, let me guess. It's about a basketball player. A basketball playing goat.
Spoiler, Jesus.
I already read a few things that like a lot of it is about like being viral, going viral, having your phone out. It's like that's what we're teaching kids nowadays.
So it's the NBA.
Yeah, that's why I took them.
That's what we're teaching kids. We
Yes.
want to go
So you're telling
viral.
me an animated movie was made for kids? Wow.
No, that the message is like we need to go viral.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's
That's
welcome
where we're
to
at.
society now.
Unreal. Unreal.
It was like Matt McClung.
I'm not going.
Okay.
Haters.
Haters.
I'm still trying to get out of you what they're back with.
They're back with bringing the brand of humor that made them.
It's funny racist. Is that what you're trying to say?
No.
I don't just ask. I don't know.
No. Well, I mean, it
I
probably
haven't
is.
seen one or
but-
two. I haven't seen any of
Okay,
them.
well, that's on you then. Naked Gun. Okay, well, it's a black version of Naked Gun.
That wasn't funny to me really either.
Okay, well, that's on you too.
When they pushed
Yeah,
OJ
that
down the
was-
stairs or whatever, like that, I didn't laugh at
was
that.
funny. Yeah.
I mean, he deserved it, I guess. But
Maybe not at the time, but
that,
preemptive.
maybe it's probably a me problem. There haven't been a ton of stupid movies that I've thought are really funny.
Oh, well, you don't say.
You also think Sandlot's stupid too. So.
It is.
All right.
Now,
They would
Anchorman,
never,
hilarious.
would never take dip before they go on the tilt-a-wheel.
Here are the only stupid
They would
movies
never
that I
do
thought were funny.
tobacco. Tobacco.
Anchorman was really funny.
Okay, stupid.
Happy Gilmore was really funny.
Stupid.
And Billy Madison was funny.
Stupid. All stupid. Great. They're all stupid. Like
Here,
you can separate reality.
Wait a minute.
There's lineman
I-
stupid and quarterback stupid.
I literally just said, here are the only stupid
Correct.
movies that I thought were funny.
Correct.
And you're qualifying them as stupid.
But
I
what
already
makes them
qualified them as stupid. I don't,
Their level
you
of
don't have
stupidity.
to tell us they're stupid.
Their level of stupidity makes it funny.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you go beyond. Like it's so stupid that it's hilarious. I feel like Anchorman qualifies there.
100%. Maybe it's because they're trying to make a horror film stupid. And
That's what's
that
funny
just
about
kinda
it. Like
doesn't
if
work.
you go back and watch Scary Movie 1 and 2, it's pretty dang funny, dude. I'm just gonna tell you, it's
I'm
pretty dang
I'm
funny.
not sure I'm going to have the time for that,
They
but
just
I'm going
make
to take your
fun
word
of
for it.
everything.
Right.
It's kind of like when Not Another Teen Movie came out, and they made
Yes.
fun of
Did you
every
like that one?
teen movie. Yeah, it's hilarious.
That's a good
It's,
one,
it's
yes.
kind of the same ilk as Scary Movie.
A spoof movie, as it were.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
just there's absolutely unapologetically ripping every dumb high school cinematic masterpiece of the late 90s.
And they got a lot of material nowadays.
Tons.
Do they, though? Because there's no other good movies, really.
Well,
Oh boy.
just in the nature of where we are in society, they got a lot of
That's fair.
directions they could go.
Yeah, that
Totally fair there.
the opening scene in the trailer, like that sets the tone.
On
right
the
then and
subway?
there. Yes. They make fun of pronouns.
Oh, boy.
So either you're gonna love it or
Or, yeah,
that's
like-
it right there.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's also the Wayans, so it's like they don't care. They're breaded as a family.
Where is that little doll from in the opening?
Megan.
Again,
Trainer?
The movie Megan
what? There's a movie called Megan.
and Megan 2.0. Yeah, she came back.
About,
Oh, wow.
is she a spinoff from another film?
Nope. That was an original. See again, get out to theater, see stuff.
See?
I thought it was Annabelle, so
Annabelle.
Yeah. So
What's the difference?
it's same.
Is there a difference?
No.
Yeah, one's a robot.
Literally, they basically all they've done is they've taken Chucky, and they've made Annabelle and Megan,
And that's Girl Chucky.
and then we'll come back and they'll be
More or
like
less.
Chucky 8 will come out in 3 years. Like it's back and forth.
Yeah.
It's a seesaw.
Talk about the Reacher hits.
That's all it is.
Hold on.
Exactly.
Is it the same, supposed to be the same character?
No. Wait. What?
Annabelle and Megan,
No.
the Stallion.
Correct. No, totally different. That's also, speaking of flipping sides, she's kind of,
No, he
well, all right.
wants to date a winner.
That's one way to put it.
Hope they can handle it.
Okay. I'm more confused now than before.
So you're gonna
Should
see
have
it.
let that go.
Should have just been
You're right,
right.
son.
Don't let the peanut
So
gallery.
what day are you gonna take the kids?
Probably not in theaters. No, probably not gonna. I can wait until that one is
John will be there in theaters.
on Max.
You got to support him.
It's on Max.
Max.
5 years ago, envision this: Michael LaFleur, Kevin Stefanski, Jesse Minter, Joe Brady, Dave Canales, Ben Johnson, Zach Taylor, Todd Monken, Brian Schottenheimer, Sean Payton, Dan Campbell, Matt LaFleur, D'Amico Ryans, Liam Cohen. Andy Reid would be your staple. Clint Kubiak, Jim Harbaugh, Sean McVay. McVay, he was going 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Vrabel,
Yes.
Man.
Kevin O'Connell, Jeff Halfley, Kellen Moore, John Harbaugh, Aaron Glenn, Sirianni, Mike McCarthy, Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDonald, Todd Bowles, Robert Salah, Dan Quinn. It fits right in exactly what you were talking about. These guys were either coaching different teams 5 years ago,
Yeah.
or they were grinding their way through an NFL coaching format somehow, some way, somewhere else. There's very few, I feel like, solidified coordinators in the NFL 5 years ago on that list.
Not many. I mean, where was Liam Cohen 5 years ago? He was like first year at Kentucky.
For the first time.
Yeah.
Then he came
Yeah, I
back to
forgot
Kentucky
about
for the
that.
first time again.
Forgot about that.
So
Oh boy.
wild to think about.
Crazy.
But when you hear that, does it make you think better or worse chance that Sark's an NFL head coach? It makes me think worse chance, and that has nothing to do with Steve Sarkisian.
No, I think better chance. These owners still want to sell tickets. You put Steve Sarkisian in there against Clint Kubiak, I think Steve Sarkisian's going to have people a little bit more fired up.
So let me ask you this. How many college coaches right now do you think NFL owners would look at and say, that would move the meter if we hired them?
Marcus Freeman, Steve Sarkisian,
Oh, there's one more.
Ryan Day.
No.
Kirby Smart.
No.
Mm-mm.
Seriously, guys?
Oh, Bill Belichick?
What? No.
I don't know.
Who?
Who is the most popular name coaching college football right now?